First story. My brother is dying, and I couldn't give it SHT after catching him cheating with my wife in my bed. Now my mom is calling me heartless, while my soon-to-be ex is begging me for a second chance. I don't know how to deal with this. This was actually almost 5 months ago. Yet I feel like I was stabbed in the heart 5 seconds ago. I'm a delivery driver for FedEx, so I'm never away from home. So why is my wife always complaining that I'm away for too long? One day my brother tells me he wants to go on vacation. I'm like, where to? He wants to go snowboarding. That same day, my wife tells me she's going on vacation with her friends. Of course, I believed her. She left a day before my brother did, so I thought I had nothing to worry about. I don't have any kids with my wife yet. 2 weeks later, my neighbor told me my brother was holding hands with my wife. My brother is married. Somehow, his wife looks like my wife. I always found that weird. I thought since he was old, he mistakenly confused himself with my sister-in-law. I'm coming home from work one day. I go in my house. All I had in mind was, I need a shower. Go to my room, and I see my wife shirtless, literally sleeping next to my naked brother. I'm not a fighter. I've never been in a fight before, but I grabbed his foot and yanked him off my bed. I start screaming at him. She wakes up and starts saying the typical female crap. It's not what it looks like. I learned they have been going at this for 2 years. After that scenario, I told his wife. This isn't the first person he cheated on her with, so she had enough. She started divorce procedures. I did the same. Wife begs me to forgive. I know why she wants a second chance. She'll be homeless. Her ex-brother is homeless. I have been with my wife for 4 years. I don't believe in family anymore. My brother was the last relative I counted on. He can rot for all I care. I was warned. Don't marry American women. But I'm an American myself. But American women are the most trifling human beings in the world. I believe that now. Update. Ex-brother got coronavirus. Well, there is nothing I can do. I found this morning. He had it for a little bit. Our sister FaceTimed me. She showed me him. And he doesn't look too good. She told me to talk to him to give each other peace. Nah, he can rot. He is no brother of mine. As for wife, she still begs me to take her back. She gets on her knees. Sorry, but no. As for ex-brother, I do wish him luck. All he did was smoke and drink all his life. Update caught brother with wife. My apologies. I have to apologize for those who were upset at me for believing most women cheat. After discovering this, my marriage was destroyed. I have been cheated on more times than I can count. I've dated multiple women. I've been cheated by all. Now the one I married has been cheating on me for 2 years now. What the hell would you have me think? I became very arrogant after this. Very heartless. My brother is dying from this virus, and I don't feel a thing about it. There's nothing I can do anyway, so I don't care. Wife is about to be out in the streets. She's ashamed to ask others for help. Yay, I know there are many women who won't cheat. In my eyes, I can't trust anyone, not even family. So again, my apologies. I meant no disrespect. It just came out the wrong way. Update. Ex-brother is on deathbed. So I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm in the middle. In total of 5 kids. I was never a parent. I don't know the love of having children. But seeing the pain my parents are going through, it depresses me. I shouldn't wish harm on anyone, especially my family. My mother told me if you don't speak to your brother because of that W you married, you're going to regret it. I can't make you. But it's a shame how even family can hate one another. I told her I refused to speak to someone like him. And cried walking away. My ex-brother is literally on his deathbed. Everyone just assumes he's going to die. I wish him luck. Do I think he got what he deserves? Maybe. Who am I to judge? Do I feel bad? Am I going to miss him? No. Jealousy and hatred are powerful things. To be honest, if I do go talk to him, protect it, of course. 1, I could still get sick. And 2, I'll only make things worse. Knowing how much I resent him, I'll probably tell him he got what he deserves. Probably something like having fun burning in hell. I have nothing good to say to him, so I would rather just not say anything at all. Forgiveness is out of the question. I asked my wife why she did it. She said every girl will cheat if they don't have what they want. I asked her, what does she want? She said, a better life. She tried telling me how sorry she is for hurting me. That she knows I love her. Loved, but that I could find someone else that's much better than her. Everyone is the same to me. For the trolls who will hate on me for this, please read slowly. I don't care. She said it, not me. I get it now. I've been cheated on so many times because they wanted something better, I guess. It's sad. Back in the day, people had more self-respect. Wonder what happened. Update: brother died and cheating wife is homeless. Might be the last channel I post this on. At this point, it's probably spam. Wanted to give another update. My brother died a couple days ago. I had to process all of this. I made peace with my brother, as my mother would call it. I spoke to him. He looked at me and told me it's pointless for him to apologize to me because he was never sorry. I'm pretty much going to be paraphrasing, because how am I going to remember everything we said? But he did say, you can't trust not just women, but no one. Women are cruel and evil, sure, but so is everyone else. No one is perfect. Look at Mom. She slept with the man Dad hated and got pregnant with me. But yet, she has the nerve to call Ashley, right? You think Dad doesn't regret staying with her or regret raising me? All because of a stupid fight. When Mom got sick, Dad told her to get the man who fathered me to help her. This is how human beings are. You're not perfect either. No matter how hard you try to be. Let me tell you this. Life will hit you much harder than me and Ashley. You're only 28. You're going to finish this semester and graduate with an engineering degree and will join the military to be an engineer. I am proud of you. But please promise me this. You will not be married to any woman while you're in the military. Women will only seek you for their military wife benefits and will cheat and betray you while you're gone. And you'll be gone for months, or maybe even longer. If you stay with Ash, I promise the same thing will happen. He said women are only for pleasure and to control. I completely disagree. Ain't nobody an effing slave. But I agree that I shouldn't be married to any woman if I still end up going to the military. That's an automatic betrayal. If anyone gets triggered by my opinion, go cry in a corner. I'd gaff. I found soon to be an ex-wife. She is living in her car right now. I told her about my brother. She started crying. She's doing well given her circumstances. I was thinking of letting her stay in the house so she can be safe. But it looks like she can handle herself. That's good. When she confessed everything to me that day, she told me I fell in love with him a long time ago. I told her if she gets sick and ends up like him, she might be able to see him again and be happy. I know I'm a heartless piece of crap right now. I have no feeling for what happened because I'm pushing it all to the side. I feel numb to everything that has happened. I refuse to get emotional for something that can't be helped. It's just like my ex-brother said, no one is perfect. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up my life and end up in jail and destroy my future career. For what? 2 disgusting pieces of crap. Please. She isn't my problem anymore. And neither is he. Maybe I'll give an update about the soon-to-be ex later on. My mother is devastated. She lost her son. What can I do to help her cope? I have no feeling towards my brother's death, to be honest. Second story. Parents realized they would die alone after feeling entitled to their daughter's lives to control, neglect, and abuse until their daughter finally lost it when they insulted her boyfriend, SLT shamed her, and physically assaulted her. Now, they regret everything. But it's too late. I know this post is long, but if anyone has the time, I'd appreciate having someone listen and give me their opinion. Am I ungrateful? Please, any advice would be such a blessing. For context, I only really included this part so you understand that I have made mistakes, yes, and I own up to them. So for context, my F21 family is Mexican, and my parents had me at a really young age, 18. I also have 2 younger sisters, 18 and 19. The reason I'm going to give a little more detail than needed most would say, and a little more in depth, is because I'm going around in circles. My whole life has been about my family and my parents. I do everything with them in mind, especially my dad. I don't know if there's a right answer or right thing to do, and the way I'm thinking, I guess it makes me feel guilty. Because what sort of good daughter wishes for space from her parents? I feel guilty for not being able to say no to them, yet getting upset and confused whenever they stop asking for my help. I wish people could understand the way my mind works, the way I constantly try to understand both perspectives and everyone's feelings, the way I go around and around making sure I'm not just crazy and spoiled and delusional and acting like a teenager at 21, as my parents would say. My parents moved to Canada with me when I was a year old, and they've built everything we have from the bottom. I feel like I owe them so much. I feel like everything I do will never be enough, although realistically, I know all they want is for me to finish school, and trust me, I want that too. Around 2 years ago, my dad got sick with cancer, and it took a toll on my family. Keep in mind, my dad was a lot stricter-ish and guarded before he got sick. He would hit us to discipline us, and never show any sort of emotion. I remember the first time he told me he loved me was when I visited him on my 18th birthday in the hospital after he had had surgery. To this day, I've only ever heard it about 3 more times since that day. My dad got hospitalized on my first day of virtual university. The first month or so I was determined to get through school and finally have something worth showing my dad, make him proud and show him that I'm doing this for us, that I'm doing what they've always wanted my sisters and I to do, study. After all, I did go to school for business just like he wanted me to. Always everything, just like he said. Little did I know he'd be in the hospital for 3 months. As with any other health journey, it was rocky and steady on and off. So naturally, during the time my dad was sick, I slowly dropped everything in terms of my responsibilities, friendships, and wants and focused on them, like any other person. Except I told them it was all handled when, in reality, those were the worst 3 months of my life. I was mentally at my worst, smoking weed nightly to properly sleep, barely eating or randomly going on these eating binges. I ended up failing 2 courses that semester and dropping 2 other ones the next semester. My family was, and is everything to me. I would cook dinner, clean the house, and do my parents' laundry to make sure my mom had clothes to sleep in since she'd stay night and day by his side. I was the only one with a driver's license at the time, so I would drive my sisters from point A to point B, run errands, all while attempting to do school, and be my mom's #1 support system, which was really hard, I can't lie. During this time, and before my dad got sick, my mother and I had always been close. She moved away from her family at a young age because realistically, I wasn't planned. Her sisters are older, and we're never really close with them. And her friends are older Mexican women who love to gossip and pretend like they're still in high school. So naturally, I was her best friend. Always had been. I was always there after every argument she had with my dad. I realized that some, if not most, of my resentment towards my dad came from everything my mom would tell me he'd do, and even everything I saw. I remember him being so toxic towards her. I love him, and it's crazy to even imagine he was physical with her at once. The point is, my mom and I used to be close. I tried handling everything all at once and failed in some aspects. My dad ended up coming home the day before Christmas, and I guess ever since then things changed. Some for the better and some, I guess, for the worst. There is so much to say, and so much I wish I could say in a couple of words, but there's just too much. Update. Currently, as in the last few months. Fast forward. I'm in my 4th year and turning 21 next week. My youngest sister, 18, has a boyfriend. The middle one, 19, is going through her self-healing phase. I need to be alone during the all men suck phase, which I support and love 100%. Don't get me wrong. And I'm in a relationship with my loving boyfriend, 22. To sum it up quickly, my parents, specifically my dad, have always been super strict and on my arse about dating and just trying new things once again. I get it. I get that I'm the firstborn and they're growing with me, but you'll get the gist. Not kidding. There was one time my dad picked me up from a date an hour away from where we lived just to prove a point and drove off without saying hi to my date, just to later want to text an apology to the guy. I was 19. There's been other instances with ex-boyfriends where my dad has given me the silent treatment, lashed out, or simply made my life at home 10x harder. I get it. It makes sense at 16, 18, when you're first learning to be in a relationship, although realistically you never stop learning. You just get better at handling and communicating. But I've had the same conversation about trust, communication, age, boundaries, and basic respect with my parents for years. It goes all the way back to high school parties. I never went to one, sad to say. But I also feel like I'm not even living the full college experience, hanging out with friends more than once in a week, because in our house we already went out once this week, and that should be enough to having proper dates with BFs. I started seeing my boyfriend back in February, and my parents knew about it. I'd talk about it and bring it up here and there. But this was the first time I had decided not to be so open like before, just because I knew how much they loved to get involved and give their opinion on everything, of course. I know it's also partially my fault, because I would allow them to by letting them in on my relationship. I decided to be a bit more private about my relationship, that I actually ended up getting closer with his side of the family, rather than him getting close with mine. Understand that we simply couldn't be at my house or near my family the first 3 months because my parents weren't even welcoming towards him to begin with. They didn't want him over until they properly met him at dinner or something. But every time I'd bring it up, they'd brush it off and say they'd LMK when they were free because of work. It never ended up happening. Also, it's always been this way. But if BFs are over, we're only allowed to sit on the main floor where everyone is. Not upstairs or downstairs alone. The first time my dad met my boyfriend was picking me up for a picnic in May. and my dad comes out. My boyfriend puts his hand out to introduce himself and make conversation, and everything is right. My dad looks at him and tells him that he doesn't need to introduce himself, that he already knows who he is, and basically he doesn't care. He told him to stay where he was because he didn't want to shake his hand and went back inside. My dad had been my greatest and biggest flex until that day. I was so embarrassed that my dad wasn't the man I had made him out to be. My boyfriend is so sweet, loving, patient, and understanding. I wouldn't have it any other way. We worked past this bump, and the first conversation of the year happened. My dad said he wanted to work past it, and that he was sorry. And he never really apologized to my boyfriend. But we moved past it and hung out at a family event with my boyfriend for the first time since that incident around the end of June. Basically, to sum it up, my parents are bipolar, and they ended up blaming him for my mistakes and making my life at home hard by not letting me out, not letting me see him, and then slowly my parents would randomly be fine and get past it. We'd either talk about it or pretend like nothing happened, and randomly I'd get permission to go out when I asked. I do want to add in that I did have my fair share of F-ups, and I admit it. They just seem to hold it against me, and it's that's driving me a bit crazy. I would lie to them about being at his house or about sleeping over at his house, because in my culture that's just not allowed, and a lady should always sleep at home. But it's not like I don't tell them everything. I was so straight up with them that I simply said, it's not like what happens at night doesn't happen during the daytime if that's what you're so afraid of. Because my mom would basically SLT shame me and tell me my boyfriend doesn't love me because he invites me over into his house. Another one that is understandable for why they're holding it against me is when I used the debit card they opened up for my sisters and me to save money they'd give us. I ended up using that money on Ubers, food, and just anything. I saw money and felt powerful. But I genuinely think that's just a personal issue that I'm resolving. I just know it's something they can't let go of. It just hurts that they blame my boyfriend for it. I was also taking a course in the summer, but dropped it because I missed the midterm, and my parents blamed that on my boyfriend too. Although I was genuinely going through it because of my parents giving me the silent treatment. Once again, long story short, my parents are very bipolar. And around a month ago my boyfriend was allowed to be downstairs with my sisters and me to watch movies or hang out. And I was allowed to go to his house. And all of this SHT that wasn't even allowed 2 months ago. They'd be okay with me coming home around 1 AM sometimes. And other times I would get upset and spam my phone if I wasn't home by 11 PM on a Saturday night. School started, and for some reason my dad thinks I'm not in school. That he came all the way to my campus just to find out if I was but couldn't, and instead got humbled by 2 ladies at the office asking him if he thought he was doing too much. He proceeded to call and cuss my boyfriend out. My boyfriend's mom had to call me and ask me if my boyfriend had done anything because the way my dad was yelling on the phone scared her. I had to reassure her that my boyfriend is the most amazing, kind soul to me, and my dad is just finding someone to blame. Update. Fast forward once again. That whole week my parents didn't have much conversation with me. None at all, actually. The only time that week was when I was on campus studying with my boyfriend and my dad called me, just to tell me to be home. Me studying at school and coming home way after my classes had ended had never been an issue, and I expressed that to him. I shared my location with him, and I told him I was at school, but I was going to get food and stay a bit later. But that I also wouldn't get home so late it was 7 PM. He yelled, said no, said I have to listen, and hung up. He called me once more, an hour or two later, when I was on the train, asking where I was because it had been more than enough time for me to be home. Fast forward to today. My mom slapped me. I guess I'm fast forwarding a lot because right now, this is all that's on my mind. And I'm so shaken up and surprised. A lot of little petty comments were made throughout the week. No talk. My boyfriend even showed up to Thanksgiving. My dad got up and sat at the couch, instead of sitting at the dinner table with my boyfriend and I to eat. Since he decided he was hungry and wanted us to all eat before my boyfriend had gotten there. Yup. My dad acts 15 sometimes, and he wasn't even acknowledged like that by my parents. Thanksgiving was weird and didn't feel like Thanksgiving was my point. This morning my dad told me to come straight home after my classes were done. And I told him I'd let him know because I might hang out with some friends, study DTT for a bit, or get food. He told me no. He said he'd come pick me up and get me and look for me, and I shrugged past him. He laughed and said to my mom, "Look at her. She thinks she's her own boss and all that because she doesn't want to listen." And my mom rushed straight after me, asking me where I was going. I had enough, so I replied, "What was the point in giving you my schedule if you're going to constantly ask me where I'm going?" And for some reason she was claiming I had missed my class because it was at 8 and all this made no sense. I got my schedule out, pointed at it, and told her to look. That it's Monday and have no 8 AM classes. I won't lie, I had a bit of attitude. But before I knew it, she slapped me and tried getting in my face. My dad comes in, getting in the middle of us. He's telling me I'm going to deal with his consequences. My mom is yelling that my boyfriend is ruining my life. My dad is telling her it's fine that I'm still just a child. I told my mom to remember what she just did, because it'd be the last straw for me leaving. She started yelling, saying how I don't respect them, how I'm not obedient, and how a good daughter doesn't do that. I attacked back by asking her if a good mother slaps their child, and basically calls them a SLT for going to see her boyfriend. If a good mother ignores the issues instead of talking. My dad continued saying SHT like, they'll both see my BF and I. There's going to be consequences. I don't care about anything she says anymore. Her relationship with him means nothing to me now. I tried being reasonable and calm. That's nothing now. All this SHT, talking as if I'm not there. Every time I tried heading towards the door, my mom would try shoving my dad off so she could get in my face. I told my dad to calm his wife down. It was all just within a matter of 5 minutes or less. I just remember saying, so do I go to class or not? And my dad moved my mom further away from me so I could open the door. I opened it, and I just told them, you guys gave up way before even trying to understand and listen and meet in the middle with me. I do respect you. I always have. I love you guys, but you guys get respect. And me being my own person, confused way too much because you don't agree with what I need and want. And I just walked out as my dad kept trying to keep my mom calm because she was genuinely acting like some ratchet girl picking a fight at the club. I love my parents so much. I want to make them proud. I want to have a good relationship with them. And I've broken my back several times trying to do so. Trying to have conversations, trying to just suck it up and deal with it, because it seems like the easiest route to go about. But I think I've reached how much I can really take. Or am I crazy? Am I really a bad daughter? Am I spoiled and just a rebellious daughter? I have my boyfriend and his family's full support and are welcoming me with open arms while I actually get around to finding a place. But I need out. I need to leave ASAP because it's taking a major toll on me mentally. They want me to focus on school and myself. But I can't even seem to do that with how much they've already added to my plate. Third story. My entitled boyfriend accused me of cheating and broke up with me after he caught me watching my intimate videos with my late husband. Then said I should sleep in my dead husband's grave if I can't get over him. Recovered with Reddit. My boyfriend 35M and I 34F have been seriously dating for 3 years and eventually want to settle down and marry. My late husband and I were together since college and had a very loving and passionate relationship until he was torn away from me in a freak accident 8 years ago. I have mostly moved on, but I still miss him terribly some days. I do not compare my now boyfriend with him because both have a really special place in my heart. My boyfriend is sensitive to this loss of mine, and I have been in therapy, and he accepts my late husband as one of the greatest loves I have ever experienced. My late husband and I used to always have an intimate night together on New Year's, and last night I was terribly missing him again. He had gifted me a pillowcase he customized for me made of satin, and I lie down with it whenever I want to feel close to him. It's just how I cope. So last night when my boyfriend was watching TV, we came back recently from a vacation so did not go to any parties. I went to my room, hugged the pillow, and opened my hard drive that had our photos. I had opened that file after so long, I almost forgot I also had NFW stuff in there, which I wanted to relive. I did not want to delete our intimate photos of us in the bathtub, our honeymoon and wedding nights, some naked cuddling, because those are special to me. However, those were not outright SX tapes. My boyfriend called me to help fix something, and I shut my laptop, not realizing what was on it. Edit. I think I have to make it clear, I was not getting any sexual enjoyment from those photos and videos, nor was I jerking off. Those were simply sweet romantic photos with a touch of intimacy. For example, a photo of us cuddling in the sheets. Just invaluable moments of a married couple. It was more of a comfort thing to me than as X thing and special to me, and meant only for our mine and hubby's eyes. My boyfriend went to get equipment from the storeroom. This was mine and my husband's place originally, and I sensed alarm in his voice. When I rushed in, he was questioning what the heck I was doing browsing through those photos, and why do I see a use in keeping such intimate media with a former partner. I tried to laugh it off. I smiled sheepishly because at first, I thought he was going to tease me about it, like if your partner caught you jerking off would. However, when I realized how hurt he was, he simply didn't let me say anything. He genuinely felt hurt and betrayed and accused me of cheating on him and told me that I could sleep with him in his grave. I felt that was crossing the line and wanted to scream my head off, but kept calm. My boyfriend never had such a reaction to me missing him before, and I can see why my actions hurt him. But to accuse me of cheating on him feels super wrong. He told me that he was breaking up with me and warned me not to contact him. He left my place, and I have no idea how to talk to him. AITAH, how do I get him back? TLDR, my late husband passed away 8 years ago, and I've been dating my current boyfriend for 3 years. I still miss my late husband and cherish the memories we shared, but I also deeply love my current boyfriend. Last night, I unintentionally left my laptop open with intimate photos of my late husband and me, including some NFW images. My boyfriend saw them and felt betrayed, accusing me of cheating and abruptly breaking up with me. I'm heartbroken and unsure how to reach out or make amends to get him back. Update. Recovered with Reddit. Hi everyone, I am here with a very quick, not so great update now. He had left my place last night at around 9 p.m. after breaking up with me, and I had posted my bit in the evening a day after that, while I was still processing the breakup. Maybe I was just looking for validation or trying to unhealthily vent here, and found it therapeutic no matter what response I got. Now, I truly realize how hurt he must have felt. So maybe an hour into posting this, when it was around 7 p.m., my boyfriend finally called me back, asking to meet. I thought we could have a conversation about it and make up. He, however, didn't intend that. When we met, I asked if we could get back together, offering to remove those files from my laptop and transferring them into a USB drive, all photos, even non-intimate ones, so I don't have easy access to them. He told me he would ideally be in a relationship with someone who only had him in her heart, and he'd rather I get rid of my husband altogether, but it's unfair to me. He said he realized what he wants, and that is #1 in someone's heart. He put up with a lot of stuff just because I am a widow, and doesn't think he would date one again. It really hurt me when he told me that my action has damaged any trust in our relationship, and even if he wanted, he couldn't pretend. And what hurt me the most is that he says he has lost feelings for me. He initially had finally decided he would propose to me by the end of the year, but now it's not in his plans. I was incredibly hurt and started bawling, but he wouldn't comfort me. He simply wished me the best and told me he hopes the memories of my husband keep me warm at night, which I found petty and disrespectful as f, but was too stunned to say anything. A lot of people, by my inflammatory reactions, at first thought this was a rage bait. I don't blame you. I was merely trying to seek a vent and fighting a void in me. To those I have hurt here, I am sorry. I will take some more time to heal and aspire to be a better partner to my future boyfriend husband. Relevant comments. Popular_error 3691. Sorry, he was shown he will never be your number one. You literally said on your first post that your late husband will always be your greatest experience of love. Why would anyone want to compete with a dead man? He clearly put up with a lot from you and is over it. OP. I had specifically mentioned he was one of the greatest loves in my life. I think it would be unfair to my husband and disrespectful to our marriage to deny what we had was real. Because of how great that love was, I genuinely wanted to experience it again. What my boyfriend and I had was also real. I wasn't using him as a crutch. What was meant to be a private moment of grief was given such an ugly spin. Popular_error 3691. You were using him as a crutch. You say he put up with a lot from you being a widow over the years. You used this man to get by, but not over your issues, and he is done. OP. I didn't wear my wedding ring on my finger. I didn't actively celebrate our days and only went to the grave, which he was uncomfortable with. I only went to his grave 3-4 times a year. And on those days, I wore the wedding ring as a chain, as to not offend him. But he still gave me the cold shoulder, and would refuse to have sex with me while I was wearing it, so I eventually tried to stop myself. You can judge me for how badly I treated my ex, but I assure you I didn't. I made him feel valued, didn't talk much about my husband, and put effort into our relationship. What was meant to be a private moment of grief was subjected to an ugly spin. It's not even like we hadn't spent time together. We had just come back from a really nice vacation, and both wanted some quiet time alone. So I did what I felt was best in the moment. Other comments from OP. Thank you. Some idiot here told me I was the devil for visiting his grave on our wedding anniversary. I am starting to lose faith in humanity. I'm sure some of what I did hurt him, and I will work on myself. But it's just stupid to pretend that grief is like a breakup. This was my husband who effing died. So visiting my dead husband's grave on our wedding anniversary and his birthday is apparently offensive. I don't believe you for a second. You categorically lack empathy. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.